So I've been sheltering in the polytunnel out of the rain, but the sun's come out now, so it's a perfect time for me to give you a quick tour. Everything is looking as it always does at this time of year, so vibrant. Not probably that objective a judgment on my part, because it didn't look so good back in February, but by comparison now it's looking really nice in March. So let me show you around. So I'm going to start in the polytunnel. I've taken the chairs out so I can get in and move around easily. And let's start in the roof. So right now we're all full of strawberries. They're all bursting into life. I'm really pleased with them so far. I've got a lot of strawberries in here at the moment. What I'll do is I'll take about half of them outside, so I'll get a really early crop, and then the ones that I take outside will give me kind of like a second early crop. Then the ones that you'll see outside will give me a follow-on crop, you know, just a few weeks after that. And it just gives me a nice succession of strawberries, and it also means it frees up more roof space for early tomatoes, which will come in here in 2 or 3 weeks time. So let's move down a level. So here we've got my earliest succession of broad beans. Loads of flowers on these, some of them just finishing, so we'll see whether I've actually got beans on them, but it'll be a while before we see whether they actually got fertilised properly in here. In theory they are fairly self-fertile, broad beans. I have been kind of just brushing them a little bit with my fingers like this, but we've only just actually today started to get bees in here, so there's really been no pollinators so far, so we'll see whether they work or not, and if not, it doesn't really matter, because as I said, we've got plenty of other successions coming on Debbie's plot. So let's move down a level. There's all my main crop onions. I've got some from sets as well. There's just a few leeks. These are all my spare brassicas. I've just potted a few of them on. You'll see that I've got loads in the ground already. These are my early main crop leeks, and I think my last succession of true spinach. I'm switching over to Asian spinach for the next sowing in a week or so. My Zebrun shallots looking okay, and these are my salad onions, and they're looking reasonable. These are kind of desperate now to get out. Just not quite ready to plant them yet, but hopefully next week. And I've just pricked these New Zealand spinach out. So these were actually pricked out from self-seeded seedlings from where they were planted 2 years ago. And I've just potted on some early cauliflowers because I'm not ready to plant those out either yet. So that's the next level. Next level down, got my early carrots. I've got 3 tubs here, 2 tubs down the end there, and those carrots are for May and June. I've got my sort of late June, July carrots back at home, and then everything else will be out in the ground, which I'll show you that in a minute. I've got some early peas. Not really that hopeful for those. I don't find peas do particularly well for me in containers, but we'll give them a go. And then I think we're almost in the ground. Anyway, let's go to the ground. So we've got parsley, celery. These are then all different varieties of Asian greens. They are about 6 weeks old now, so they're growing reasonably well. Not fantastically well, but it's warming up now, so hopefully we'll see them put on a lot more growth. These are the last of the overwintered lettuces, so the October planted lettuces. Looking a bit ragged now, to be honest. And then green garlic here, and then these are the new season lettuces. They're looking much nicer. And then these containers, these are really containers for beans and courgettes. But I just have these spare kale plants, so I just pop them in because I'm not ready to put courgettes in here yet. These are all potatoes. This is empty, more kale. And then down here, I've got more new season lettuce interplanted with radishes, more green garlic, early main crop onions. Oh, maybe you can just see little beetroots down the edge there. Little beetroots down the edge there. Little beetroots down the edge there. Salad onions, spinach, and chard. And I think that's everything. So that's the fourth succession of the broad beans. They're ready to go out now. They're just hardening off there. Plot's looking as ugly as ever at this time of year, covered in plastic. But looks a bit better from the other direction. So we'll just walk down here. Need to go that way. So these are all waiting for potatoes, and they'll go in a few weeks' time. And I'm going to kind of run down this edge of the plot. Compost for next autumn, this autumn coming rather, spring, summer, next year. Salad onions, garlic. This is all looking quite nice now. Salad onions and early main crop onions, they're kind of interplanted with each other. There is a kind of logic to it. Some scrappy bits and pieces of field beans with a few red onions interplanted into them. But this will all be cleared in a few weeks' time. And I've just been building, it's not quite finished yet, the climbing bean frame. And really pleased with that. And I've just finished building this, which is my summer carrot bed. So in previous years, you'll remember maybe, I had carrots on top of here. They didn't do as well as I was hoping. I really am not a big fan of carrots in containers in summer. So carrots are going here this summer, and hopefully they'll do way better. And then we've got gooseberries here. So this bed is spinach at this end, which is all looking really lovely. Lettuces there, salad onions there, and it was leeks there. This bed is going to be colettes. That bed is currently colettes. And there's loads and loads of harvest still on here, and there's leeks around the edges. This is going to be my winter carrot bed, and that doesn't actually need to be planted until, well, probably June. So I could leave these colettes in for quite a while. I don't know how long I will leave them in, but certainly for about another month, because what's going to happen to them fairly soon is they're going to just burst into leaf. So rather than these little flower sprouts at the moment, which we're harvesting, which are gorgeous, we're going to get a true flower come off there, which you can eat, but we can also are going to get more and more leaf, and so they're going to be incredibly prolific for at least another month. And then underneath here, at this end, we've got kales and red cabbage and baby Brussels sprouts for leaves interplanted with radishes. And in this one, we've got calabrese and cauliflowers, and again some baby Brussels sprouts. So that's looking pretty nice. And trying to figure out which way to walk because it's really windy. So, and here, elephant garlic down the centre and down the edges, everbearing strawberries, and apple and cherry trees. Salad onions interplanted with garlic, salad onions interplanted with garlic and radishes underneath that little bubble wrap. A few people ask me, what are these bags for? These are just bags of winter leaves. So I don't have a compost bin for winter leaves or any leaves, so I rot them down in the bags and then I turn them into the compost bins next year. And then we're going to look at these beds here. So in here we've got our first crop of Calabrese, starting to come on quite nicely now. I think that's about 2 weeks away from harvest, and it's interplanted with beetroot, and then down there we've got cauliflowers interplanted with turnips. So in here we've got our youngest crop of spinach, true spinach, which is red kitten. That's the same variety that you saw in the modules. And there's another one there with lettuces down the front there. There's no reason to have lettuces there, it's just I ran out of modules and still had some spare space. And then here we've got the first few spring varieties of purple sprouting broccoli, and then what's left of the winter varieties down that end. Now we're going to look down these beds. So this one is spinach and salad onions interplanted with Calabrese. That one is lettuce winter density interplanted with salad onions. This one is Asian greens, and it was interplanted with salad onions, but I've harvested most of those. And then that is also Asian greens interplanted with salad onions. And this bed was winter lettuce before the Asian greens, but that's all harvested now, so I've only recently planted these Asian greens, and they're all looking quite nice. So this is the asparagus bed interplanted with salad onions. So this is our main salad bed at the moment. It's looking pretty good. Some of these Navara have got a little tiny bit of downy mildew on the leaves. It's not causing me much of an issue, but it's worth bearing in mind. And then those peas down the back there, they're doing quite nicely between their strings. And then this bed is just a huge number of overwintered Japanese style onions, and they're massive at the moment. Just look at the size of those. So they will almost certainly go to seed fairly soon, but hopefully they won't go to seed before we get them all harvested, which won't be long now because we've only got about 50 onions or so, maybe about 5 weeks supply at home. And we've got some baby Brussels sprouts interplanted with radish. And then this is our main spinach bed, and this will soon be onions in April, so it's got a few weeks of harvesting in front of it. So we're going to work our way along this bed. And basically we've got colettes here, what's left of the Brussels sprouts, and I leave my Brussels sprouts in until the very last minute because they still provide fantastic leaf harvest. Like these leaves off these are absolutely gorgeous. All of these little tiny red sprouts here, which a lot of people would just take out, but no, because they burst into leaf like this. They're going to burst into leaf and be gorgeous in just a couple of weeks. Loads more spring purple sprouting broccoli. This one's claret, I think, and winter ones are finished. And then this bed I harvested every other spinach plant, and in the gaps I have put parsnips, and now I'm going to harvest all the spinach and put onions and shallots in its place. So this bed will be alternate shallots, parsnips, with radishes down the front there. The parsnips are not up yet, but I'm hopeful. Last few little bits of kale. Nothing to plant in that bed yet, so I'm just leaving it. I like to leave living roots in the ground for as long as possible, but that will probably be early dwarf French beans. We'll see. I might change my mind. Second early strawberries interplanted with garlic, and spring cabbages. So we've just got these two deep coal frames in this mini greenhouse. The mini greenhouse is currently full of early potatoes under fleece. So this deep coal frame was carrots, and it's now turnips and radishes, same as that one. And in early April, this will be my second batch of early main crop potatoes, and just benefits from this double plastic cover to keep them alive through the frosts in April and May. This is one of the few beds that I've got that doesn't really have much of a mare's tail problem, because it is lined at the bottom with landscape fabric. So it's one of the few places that I can actually grow carrots successfully. And this one is still carrots, and this one was carrots last week, and we just finished harvesting, so we're getting pretty low on carrots now. So I always get lots of questions about the way that I garden. I do have a little ebook that you can look at. It's pretty comprehensive now, and it's free to read. There's a link to it in the description below. It covers pretty much everything you want to know, all the basics of gardening, how to grow all sorts of different types of veg, all the advanced growing techniques for self-sufficiency, all that sort of thing. Loads of stuff. So hope you liked this quick video. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.